Hello everyone. In this video I'm going to show you how to use Photoshop to create planets that look something like this. First of all, you need to go to the internet and find some alien looking landscapes. For example, this is the Tufa Towers in Mono Lake, California. They look amazing. These are the Hoodoos rock formations in Bryce Canyon, Utah. And these are the Trona Pinnacles, also in California. These are all rock formations, but you could choose something different. In Photoshop, I'm going to go to File, Open, and I chose this one right here from Trona, California. I'm going to take the crop tool, and I don't need all this space in the foreground, so I'm going to cut it off, maybe something right there. And yours may or may not need to be cropped. Now I'm going to go to Select Sky. This is going to work really well for my image because I have a plain, simple sky. For your image, you may have to use some of the other selection tools, like these over here, to cut out your sky. So I'm going to go to the Layers panel, click the padlock to unlock the background layer, and then delete the sky. Control or Command D to get rid of the selection. Now I need to add space at the top. To do that, go to Image Canvas Size. And I will put this on inches. I'm going to just estimate. I'm going to try 10. I can always crop it or add more later if I need to. And I'm going to click, I always forget which one, nope, the bottom here. And that is going to add the space to the top of my document. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to change the colors so it looks more alien to me. So here I'm going to add a new adjustment layer for hue and saturation. And let's see what looks interesting to me. And I'll just play around with these different sliders until I like the way it looks. Maybe something like that. Now that I've made my adjustments, I'm going to go ahead and merge that with the layer underneath it. So Control or Command E on the keyboard. And next, I'm going to click the plus sign down here to get a new layer, put that underneath my landscape, and that's going to be the beginning of my sky. So I need black over here, and I'm going to use the paint bucket, which is grouped together with the gradient tool, and click that background to paint it black. Next, I'm going to go get some brushes. So in Google Classroom, I got these brushes right here from brusheasy.com. You can choose different brushes if you want to. This is called 20 Magic Dust, and here are the instructions on how to load that into Photoshop. So if I get the paintbrush, and my first stars are going to be white, so I'll make that white, and then scroll down here to the bottom. Here's my 20 Magic Dust brushes, and I'm just going to choose this one here. Whoops. Undo that. And they're really large. I'm going to make them smaller. I'm using the bracket key. These are going to be my far away stars. By the way, I'm going to create a new layer in case I don't like these. And I'm just going to make them a couple of different sizes. And just kind of cover the whole sky. I'm going to make a new layer, and I'm going to choose a new color. Let's see, maybe a kind of a light blue color. And then get a new brush. How about these? And I'm going to, it's really super large, so I'm going to make that smaller. And go ahead and add some of those on there, maybe not quite as many. And one more layer, and I'm going to make these kind of a golden color. So maybe something like that. And get one more type of brush. And you have fun with your brushes, and you with your stars, do it however you think it looks good. You don't have to necessarily do exactly what I'm doing. And these are going to be my really close stars, so they're going to be kind of large. Okay, I also think they're a little bit dominant, so I'm going to reduce the opacity some on some of the stars so that they look a little bit more faded. And maybe I was a little bit too heavy-handed. We'll see how it looks in the end. All right, the next thing that I'm going to do is create the planets. So I'm going to click my background layer, which is the black sky, and click the plus sign. I'm going to switch to the elliptical marquee tool, and I'm going to click and drag a circle. And if you hold down Shift while you're dragging, it forces the selection to be a circle. And it also, while you're dragging, if you hold down the space bar, you can move that around, move the circle around. Okay, so I'm going to say that looks okay right there. And I'm going to get white and get my paint bucket and click that. And you can see if I turn off my landscape, it is filling the whole circle down. I'll just leave that off for a minute. Now I'm going to go to File, Place Embedded, and I previously downloaded this concrete texture, and I'll click Place. So if you go to Google Classroom, I put 4 different concrete textures in here for you to download and use. That's where I got that from. Now I'll make this the size that I need, and when I'm finished, I'll click the check mark. Now to get it to go inside the circle, I'm simply going to right click here on the layers panel on the concrete layer and go to create clipping mask. Now with the move tool, I can move this around until I think it looks good, maybe something like that. Now I'm going to do Control or Command E, which will change that into one layer. Now it looks flat right now. I'm going to make it look a little more rounded. So hold down Control or Command on the keyboard and click this rectangular frame, and that will select the circle. Now I'm going to go to Filter, Distort, Spherize, and I'm going to crank the amount all the way over to 100. Now watch what happens when I click OK. It kind of makes it like a fisheye. It kind of scrunches it at the edges and stretches it in the middle, and that makes it look a little bit more 3D. The next thing that I'm going to do is change the colors. And to do that, I am going to turn on my landscape because I kind of want the colors to go with it. So Control or Command D to get rid of the selection. Now click down here and go to Hue and Saturation. Now I can choose all sorts of crazy colors here, or I could just colorize it and make it all one color like this. So it's up to you. I think I'm going to go with the crazy colors, so I'm going to take Colorize off, and I'm going to make it more saturated. And this is completely your choice, whatever you think looks good for your image. I'll just go with that. Now I'm going to click on my planet layer and go to FX. I'm going to choose Inner Glow right here. And for the color, I'm going to click that little color chip there, and I'm going to get this reddish color here by clicking on it. And I'm going to make, oops, click OK. So you can see what happens when I change the size of it. And I can also change the blend mode of it. I actually think that multiply looks pretty good, so I'm going to leave that there. So you can tweak it a couple of different ways, and look how much rounder this looks already, having the shadows on the edges. The other thing that you can play around with is an outer glow. So let me click that, and let's try maybe kind of a bluish outer glow. And I can make, oopsies, click OK. And I can make that more or less, so it kind of looks like the planet's glowing. That might be too much, so I'll go ahead and take that off. You can decide if you want that or not. So I'll click OK. Now the last thing that I'm going to do to this planet is make it or have a shadow on it. So I'm going to hold down Control or Command on the keyboard and click the planet, so I have the circular selection, and I'm going to make a new layer by clicking on the plus sign, and I'm going to switch this to black and get the gradient tool, which is grouped together with the paint bucket. So I'll click and hold on that, select the gradient tool, and I need to go up here to basics and open that up and choose the second one, which is black to transparent. Now my shadows are on the left side over here, so I'm going to put the shadow on the left side of my planet. So I'm going to click and drag and just keep doing that and kind of clicking and dragging and painting that shadow on there until I think it looks good. I'm going to go ahead and stop right there and Control D to deselect. And I'm going to start, I'm pretty happy with that, so I'm going to start merging some of these. So here's my shadow layer, Control or Command E to merge that. Here's my hue and saturation layer, Control or Command E to merge that. Now I'm going to play around with putting my planet so that some of the stars are in front of it and some of the stars are behind it. And I think that looks pretty good. Now I also am going to add another planet, but just to save time, I'm just going to copy this one and paste it in there so you don't have to watch me do that again. So you can see on this one I did leave the glow around it. That looks pretty cool. And that is this project finished. Have fun, everyone.